A message for my people.
Nick Dad, baby. We the new label.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
Come on, son.
Now this the black sheep sticking its home. I need a crib like I'm Gatsby.
I need it.
In hand, just understand my
Pockets that deep.
with nothing to prove. I ain't got nothing to do. When they can't compete and I got nothing to lose.
Yes, what's good, everybody? Welcome back to Veterans Minimum, the number one sports betting vibe on the internet. I'm your host, handsome host, Nick Dais. At Nick Dais 10ers, you can find me. All things Veterans Minimum or at Veterans Minimum. To my left, God, when people wear the merch,
It looks great.
unplanned. Look at that. The
Great
bomber
on camera
jacket.
today.
Listen, it's the best
Lights
item.
are looking good.
It's the best item in the merch store.
It is.
It is also the most expensive, but hey, it's also the best, right? So what you pay for is what you get.
Quality. I have worn this on numerous occasions, and I'm going to be honest. I am a bigger guy. Normally, jackets like this, Nick, I can't wear them, right? Too tight around the shoulders. I am comfy right now, my friend. I could go out. I can party. I could have a couple of drinks. I can entice ladies. What's VM? VM's a show I'm on. I'm married. Have a nice day.
Listen,
That's how it would go.
I get it, bro. You know what I do sometimes when I'm out at a bar? I'll grab a girl's phone and she thinks I'm putting my Instagram. Nope. I go to Spotify, subscribe.
Smart
I
man.
go to Apple, subscribe. All downloads matter. I will do what I can to get this charting.
I mean, just think about it. If you were to like work at a bar, right? Or maybe not a bar, but if you're a bouncer at a club, every person that wanted to get in, like instead of tipping me, let me just go on all your socials, follow all my accounts.
Oh,
Bro, constant, steady new flow in Vegas. You got tourists all the time. You could grow an account to a lot of followers real quick.
bro, that's hilarious. Instead of, I don't need $20 to cut the line. Go leave a rating on Apple.
Wow. The
5-star.
things that would do, though, right? Don't pay me 20 now. Let's make the long-term investment.
Listen, it's all long term, bro. The vision is clear. If you're listening, make sure you are subscribed. Check out the YouTube channel. Check out the Instagram. We're on LinkedIn, Facebook, the TikTok, everywhere. Follow, rate, review, subscribe. Remember, if you want to slander us, it's all good. Do a thumbs up on YouTube and then leave us a 5-star rating. That's it. It's that simple. Takes you like 12 seconds. 5-star, love the
Yeah.
show. 5-star, show sucks. It doesn't matter. If it's 5-star, we're in.
It's the same.
We're in.
I'm a huge fan of 5 stars. Hate 1 stars, like the Cowboys, which is one of the teams we will be talking about today.
Yeah, we will. We will. We do have a fun show planned. We're going to end the show with some NBA talk with Combo. Our boy Combo's Court joins the show to do some NBA futures. I will get your thoughts on a couple of NBA things before we go. But fan question of the day. Big ups to everyone that sends these questions.
For real.
We are backloaded on most of these. We try to get at least one in an episode. And for the most part, some of the questions are addressed on the show, right? It's a lot of NFL stuff, betting stuff, and then we kind of put that in there too. But I love these kind of questions. It gets us thinking, it gets our thoughts, and we get some good feedback on these when we kind of do open up about certain topics. This topic is great, bro, because it's something that we're in. We're in for a while. And I always hear this question, bro. I always get this question. How do you stand out in an oversaturated market like podcasts and content creating? I want to start one, but I'm afraid it's too late. George, what are your thoughts on this question?
How do you stand out is you study the greats and then you become the great. J. Cole once said that a little bit differently in one of his songs. That's what you have to do. If you are consuming podcasts a lot and it's giving you the itch, you need to investigate as to what that inch means, get into the craft. And once you're in it, you'll start to see that there is way more avenues to becoming great. Because when you're just a listener at the very beginning, like the world seems so like tough to achieve, right? The podcasting world. But once you're in it for even just a month, you quickly realize why everybody is able to do it. It's pretty, like, if you were to give it a age rating, I think podcasts currently are like 10 years and older. Like that's what it would be on the box of podcasting. So don't be afraid, right? If you saw a 10 and older box of Legos, you're fucking building that Lego set.
Yeah.
Right? So that's the way I feel about it. You got to just jump into it. It may seem oversaturated, but Nick, I mean, join the saturation. We're not going anywhere. Podcasts are here to stay. There's going to be 1,000, 10,000, 50,000 new creators every year. You got to just do it. And if it makes you feel good and it makes you happy, like you did, you turned a hobby into a fucking full-time job.
Yeah.
And that's what's possible, right? What would you say to this?
I mean, bro, how do I keep this answer to under 5 minutes is the real question.
Facts.
Because I have so much to say about this topic. I've never worried about shit being oversaturated. I am also coming from a perspective where the show is 9 years old. Now, I'll be honest with you, bro. I'm big on experience and perspective. I don't know if I'd have this point of view if I started 6 months ago.
Mm-hmm.
I also know for a fact I wouldn't be here if that started 6 months ago.
Very true.
The body of work sort of speaks for itself at any level, at any size of the audience. I tell everybody, yo, before I moved to Vegas, I was getting about 1,000 downloads an episode. Think about you being in an auditorium, or if you're a stand-up comic and you're in front of a theater of 1,000 people. So many people were listening to the show. It's all about perspective, right? I never neglect the size of the audience ever. If it's 10 people, first podcast I ever did, 12 people listened to. I remember. And I think I might have been 7 of them on fucking SoundCloud when it would restart the count when I was uploading on SoundCloud. You start to build an audience, you build a fan base, you build a community. You have a Discord. You have people that understand the lingo. Like when we call someone a legend or we call, a girl a great girl, they're like, oh, we know, oh, great girl. We know, right. Like they feel like they're part of it. Yeah. Something, right? And it becomes cool. It becomes like a club. As far as it being oversaturated, lately I've been telling you this, bro, because the feedback we get from people coming on the show, they're like, yo, that was the funnest show we've been on. We love how you guys do the betting. You cultivate it into your own thing. Like, I'm into like 5 things, bro. Betting, sports, martial arts, Colombia.
Yep.
Sneakers. If I could talk about it on the show and through the years, you start to add more, right? When we have a guest on the show, the audience immediately knows that it's something we could relate to or we're interested in. You know how many people I've been pitched when I used to be with Blue Wire to come on the show? And I'm like, I'm not into that, bro. Yeah. Like, I don't, and it's not even they got a big following. Yeah, but my audience is going to sniff out that I really don't care. I'm just chasing the clicks. Mm-hmm. Now, male or female, if you're in martial arts, if you're in betting, right? We just had Katie on. Shout out to Katie for coming on, the Sports Betting Queen. Phenomenal conversation. Love that. You get the female's perspective. But everything relates to what we're about and what we're into. I'm not big into college sports, but you are. And now I'm getting invested into college sports because we have a dog in the race in junior.
Hey, yo.
Left tackle, double nickels.
Mississippi State
Go
this
Hogs.
Weekend. Hey, early game, 8 a.m.
Oh, well, I'll be on the East Coast.
Wait, no. 9 a.m. on the West Coast.
West Coast.
Noon for you.
Yeah,
Noon
bad.
kickoff.
Not bad.
Love to see it. But anyways, I 100% agree with if it's oversaturated, it doesn't matter. You just got to jump into it. Now, what about the thing to like when they're asking to stand out? Like what things to do when you have a podcast to stand out? One for me, I would say is like you got to have a little bit of rizz and energy on the microphone. If you are a monotone speaker, bro, unless you're talking about like philosophy, you're going to lose people. So you have to find a cadence and a rhythm, and you have to be willing to act a little, wouldn't you say? Like you find that out a little bit more as you get into it.
Have I told you my theory about people that come on the mics? It's funny that Antoine's in here because him and I have had these conversations a bunch where like when people are on a podcast and they're talking like this, I'm like, yo, what are you hiding, bro? What are you hiding? I feel like you're holding something back from me. You need to be energetic. You need to have charisma. You need to have something because then it shows, it reflects in the video and in the audio. If you're just monotone, again, there are certain conversations that we have where your energy is low because we're talking about something tragic or something crazy going on, an injury, a death, an arrest, whatever it might be. Like, yeah, you're going to be adjusting how you're going to be speaking about it because your feelings come out. But to me, I agree with you, bro. It's you cultivate the show and you find your voice and you do things your way.
Yeah.
And I think also the last thing I'll say on this, as far as standing out, man, you got to be undeniable, bro. I wouldn't be here in the content world if I didn't know how to do all the whack shit that I don't like doing, but I still do.
Mm-hmm.
Editing, audio, video. I don't want to do that, but I do it because that's what pays the bills. That's what allows me to get the reps and be in front of the camera. Everyone knows this. The moment that I could have some crazy deal and I could just come in here an hour before, get ready, put the show together, and I'm just talent, I'm not switching no more buttons, bro. I made that very clear. My goal is this, in front of the camera. But until then, you become undeniable. You have to do other shit. And especially me, who dropped out of college, I chased a passion. I had to learn how to edit video, audio, add captions, be my own sales manager, running ads for the show. You have to do all that stuff because then you become not only undeniable, you become so valuable that it's hard to get rid of you. You're versatile. You could do a lot of different shit. And again, that's what worked for me to stand out. And it was funny because shouts to Maurice Claret, he had asked Cam and Mace about this because you see a lot of athletes and celebrities starting podcasts. And he was like, yo, how do you stand out if you're kind of regular and you weren't a famous athlete or celebrity? And I was in the control room. I was like, me, dick. I'm the example right here. You just have to learn how to do all that stuff, man. And it goes a long way because you become so valuable to something that it's hard for you to be either replaced or let go or whatever it might be. It's just you build more to your resume and you become more undeniable. At least for me, that's what helped me stand out.
Yeah. If you hustle, everybody will eventually take notice. I learned that very early and I live my life by that. That's why I can't play sports as an adult. I hustle. I would be like the 37U videos where people are getting cracked and they got to go work at the auto body shop the next morning.
Yeah.
Like, bro, I would take it too serious. Those people hustle, by the way. If you play 37U and you're lacing it up, full pads, you hustle.
And bro, you know what else too, man? Not to sound corny and like an Instagram meme, you kind of just got to keep doing it and not give up because it's not always fun to be recording. Now it is. Now it's amazing. But bro, the amount of times that I stayed in on Friday nights or on Saturdays when I got invited to go to places, and I've canceled dates. I've canceled family gatherings because, I had to do some shit that only 500 people were going to see. And now I'm involved in so many things that millions of people see.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what it takes, bro. That's what it takes. And I always get that. I always get this question a lot too. Like, I want to start a podcast. I'm like, go ahead. Dang. I'm just really passionate about this. I feel like I know what I'm talking about. And also, I've just been doing it for so long that it's like, oh shit, you've been doing it 9 years. You've been doing it 12 years, whatever it might be. And that's really it, man. Just stay persistent and consistent and then cultivate it your own way and have fun with it. Gotta have fun. Number one rule, have fun.
Yeah.
Gotta have fun. You're not
You
gonna
can tell when podcasts aren't having fun.
Yeah. And bro, you have
Actually, you can't tell because nobody ever watches those shows.
Be ready to not make any money. Don't go into this space thinking you're gonna make money. It's gonna take you some time. And then eventually, like, all the rewards are gonna come later. So, hell of a question. Shout out to the Discord. We got this from the Discord. If you want to join the Discord, it's actually free to join the Discord. Now, if you want the betting picks in the Discord, that's where you got to join the Patreon. We'll do the Patreon plugs later. Okay, George.
Yes.
I sent you a text at like 8:15 in the morning.
Yeah, bright and early. And that's never the text that like, Nick, I'm never worried when you text me, but like 8:15 in the morning is like, oh shit. Like, did I accidentally post one of Rachel Yucatel's clips on a misunderstood podcast clip on Veterans Minimum? But no, Nick, the thing that you predicted July 23rd of 2023 came true. And it was that DeAndre Hopkins would be traded to the Chiefs. But at the time, he was a free agent. Yeah. So you thought he was just going to end up with the Chiefs. He ended up with the Titans, but he gets traded this morning. How fired up were you?
Listen, first of all, I know Antoine hates when we do this, but round of applause to our social media manager, George, for digging up the archives to find that one.
YouTube made it so easy, Nick.
Yeah,
I just searched Hopkins, and it popped up in like 2 seconds.
Let's go.
Look at that.
When he signed with the Titans, my rant was, why would you sign there, bro? You signed 2 big contracts. I get it, right? And this is hypocritical of me because I'm always pro player. I'm always pro get the bag and figure out everything else. But like, you've gotten multiple bags. Why not go and play with Mahomes, who they needed a wide receiver then? This was prior to last season.
Right.
They go on to win a Super Bowl. They had just lost Tyreek. Like, yo, go and they need a weapon. And like, yo, it was just perfect. You're the grizzled vet now. You still got a pep in your step, and you're going to play with a guy that you've never played with at that level. And I felt like it was a mistake for him to go there. Now he got paid, and now he gets traded to Kansas City, which even last week I was like, yo, KC, pick up the phone. I said a 2nd-round pick. He went there for a 5th. Holy shit, talk about buy low, bro.
Yeah.
And it's the infrastructure there that we always talk about with Mahomes and with Kelsey and with Andy Reid. Yo, if he stays healthy, bro, like, he is going to put up monster numbers because they need him to also. Mm-hmm. It's not a luxury. When Odell went to the Rams, that was a luxury. And then that same week, Robert Woods tore his ACL in practice. Now it's like, shit, man, we need you to step up and become a guy.
Yeah.
In the first couple of weeks, it was a little shaky. But then after that, I'll stand by this. The LA Rams in 2021 don't win the Super Bowl if it's not for Odell Beckham. I know he got hurt in the Super Bowl, but dude was on the way to win MVP in that game. I love this move. I think it's a good organization move. Like, only good organizations make moves like this. And we talk about the motivating factor. You go from a team in the Titans that are going to compete for a top 1 pick to now you're going to a team that's undefeated. You don't think and D-Hop's never won a ring. He's going to go in there and be like, holy shit, it's not Will Levis.
Yeah.
I'm not going to run 50 yards downfield wide open and waste my time. All right, he might miss me on this one, but the next one, he's going to get it to me. And I absolutely love this. I think it's a home run. I think both parties are going to benefit from this. And even Tennessee, man, they got a guy who, like, how motivated was he to go out there? He's getting his money.
He's a gamer.
Yeah.
I would see the frustration that D-Hop would show. But like, it wouldn't be like a everlasting throw my helmet frustration. It was more just like throw the hands up when things don't go your way. He cares. And like you've stated, this could not have come at a better time. By the way, the team that you had said that D-Hop should have went to early in the year was actually the Ravens. I found that when I was looking back at the clips.
So when I looked up my notes, it said Baltimore.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they also do need a premier receiver. Let's not ignore the fact, right? Zay Flowers has one decent game. Rashad Bateman breaks a slant for 70 yards. Everybody sees a stat sheet and freaks out. It's like, it's one play, an anomaly. Don't overrate it. But this D-Hop trade, Nick, he's never had a quarterback. You're talking Kyler Murray, Deshaun Watson, Will Levis. Who is the backup for Will Levis? I'm forgetting his name now. Malik Willis.
Mason Rudolph came in.
Mason Rudolph.
Yeah.
Yes, trash. He's had trash throwing to him. Wasn't there a season, and I didn't look this up, I wish I did, that he didn't drop a pass with Houston? I think he's one of those receivers that has that stat where it's like every pass thrown to him he caught. He still has those hands. Those 2 hands are still attached to his body. That's what's going to happen with Casey.
Yeah. I mean, bro, think about this, right? Like, Kansas City loses Rashid Rice. They lose Tony in the offseason. Not saying much. They obviously lose Tyreek Hill when they lost him. Mm-hmm. And they get Xavier Worthy. Justin Watson, sort of hybrid tight end / receiver. And now you throw D-Hop in there.
Yeah.
I think it's going to open up things for Travis Kelce. I think it's going to open up things for D-Hop, obviously. I think if you're the AFC, I think you should be very worried because they got another weapon for him. And they've been doing this without a lot of big name receivers or even productive wide receivers. Like Rashid Rice was on pace to be like a guy that was going to get $30+ million one day. And I still think he will be. But he was having a monster season before he got hurt. And they were in the mix for Amari Cooper. They're in the mix for a couple guys, and they end up getting D-Hop. I feel great about it. I mean, he's 32 years old. He's going to be the primary option on a team that's undefeated, has an elite tight end, and the MVP favorite right now, Pat Mahomes, and also the best quarterback in the league by a landslide.
It's going to really allow the Chiefs to stretch the field. Like, obviously, Rashee Rice was able to do it, but like, you're talking about Rashee Rice's career projection. If you're lucky, he'll be DeAndre Hopkins. What he unlocks on choice routes in the secondary, I mean, it's going to take a second to get used to. I think for every receiver, going to a new team, the ball feels a little different. Patrick Mahomes, how happy is Pat, dude?
Oh,
how does Patrick Mahomes get
thrilled?
Yeah, I mean, it's like finally.
Yeah, nah, for sure, man. And look,
finally.
Also, you gotta, if you're D-Hop, your skill set is gonna be rejuvenated. You've been not playing the way you should be because of how limited Tennessee is. Like now, that shit's gonna be showcasing again. I guarantee you, he's gonna have like a 7 for 100 and 2 touchdown game. And then everyone's going to be like, oh, look at D-Hop. This is a D-Hop on Houston. This is a D-Hop with Kyler Murray. It's like, yeah, no shit. Why is it so shocking and obvious now? Well, they have a quarterback. You don't have Will Levis and Mason Rudolph. And I think if you're Tennessee, you get a 5th-round pick. Who knows what you could turn that into? But you weren't going to keep this guy's contracts up after the year.
Mm-hmm.
And this is great. He's making his money. I got a chance to win a ring because I might not be here next year. And why not put out some good footage, good tape, and then you re-sign with someone else? Maybe you go to you go somewhere else and you get another bag. That's going to help D-Hop too. You're like, Oh my God, I might be able to get 1,000 yards this year, bro. I can go into free agency and be like, I'm a 1,000-yard receiver.
I had to look it up. DeAndre Hopkins going to Andy Reid and how creative Andy Reid is. I immediately had to see if DeAndre Hopkins has ever thrown a pass in a game. He's thrown a touchdown pass, actually. So I would say if there's any props out there for DeAndre Hopkins to throw a touchdown pass at some point in time in this season, if there's any coach that's going to pencil something up for this to happen, it's Andy Reid. Hop on that if you can find that anywhere. But
listen to this.
Go ahead.
The Macho Man Tommy Savage, Ryan Mallett, Brandon Whedon, Will Levis, TJ Yates, Brock Osweiler, Brian Hoyer, Case Keenum, Matt Schaub, shout out to Matt Schaub, great fantasy quarterback, Ryan Fitzpatrick, Kyler Murray, and Deshaun Watson. At the end, it started getting good. Deshaun Watson at the time in Houston, that really opened up things for D-Hop. And then with Kyler Murray, he had those 2 years where he was putting up some big numbers before Murray got hurt and tore his ACL, and that kind of derailed the partnership that them two had. And now he goes to the greatest quarterback living right now on the planet. So you're going to tell me D-Hop's not going to be excited to go out there? This is an amazing move. I love it. I'm excited to see what happens. And the rich get richer, man. The rich get richer. Kansas City's undefeated. Mahomes is the MVP frontrunner, even though his numbers aren't MVP-ish. This is wild. Enjoy trying to stop this. That's how I feel about it.
Yeah. Oh, they're going to really start putting it on teams now, bro. This might be the greatest halfway shift of an offense that we've ever seen. Like it would not shock anybody if they go out and put up 40 points like 3 consecutive weeks, which I feel like really, really great Super Bowl teams have done at some point in time throughout a season where they go like put up 38 points, put up 45, put up maybe 40, right? Or even more than 35 again. They have yet to prove that that's their identity. This second half is going to do that. So
I think that happens this week.
Raiders,
Get
ready.
I think they put up a 30 ball on them, effortless. A lot of Raiders fans, Raiders players were yapping last year about beating them. They beat them on Christmas, Christmas Eve or Christmas, and all the reports are, not reports, but the stats are like the last team to beat them were the Raiders, and that's what a 4-win team hangs their hat on. But
yeah,
be careful. This is what you asked for, right? Mahomes don't lose on the road in division. 9.5 point spread. Well, you'll hear that in a little bit. That's for sure. I want to play a game with you.
Yes.
The down bad power rankings.
Oh, shit.
So we have a list of teams in the NFL. And I know we did this with the quarterbacks a couple weeks ago. Like, what fan base is upset with their quarterback or happy with it? All these teams are down bad one way or another, and we'll elaborate on all of them. But basically, which fan base you think is down bad the most? And we'll add context to each one. We don't need to spend too much time on certain teams, but kind of have a list, bro. Where do you want to give me a team that you think is down bad and their fan base is down bad?
The Jacksonville Jaguars. I think that might be the most, like at this moment in time, it's a down bad franchise, but they are not like these other teams that we're going to be listing for this exact reason. And this is why I think the fans are the most mad. You have talent in Jacksonville. Use the talent correctly. That's the part that is so frustrating for every Jaguars fan, where, you know, the other options that you guys have just don't necessarily exist unless you want to implode your franchise. You're stuck with Trevor Lawrence till either 2029 or 2030. You're putting big money into ETN. Now Tank Bigsby's popping up, but you have other talents on the offensive side that should allow you guys to produce points and win. Unfortunately, Nick, they have like a murderer's row coming up of teams that are well above 500 and that will probably make the playoffs. I don't have the list in front of me right now, but there's a good chance that the Jacksonville Jaguars are 2-9 going into the bye week. This is historically bad, but the good thing that the Jacksonville Jaguars fans have to look forward to is they get they're planning on getting a new stadium. So that's good. What about you, dude? What fan base do you think's
Well, I want to
dumps?
I want to just mention one thing about the Jaguars.
Yeah.
They also are, so they're 2-5. A lot of these teams are below 500. I think there's one team that's at 500, but we'll get to them in a little bit. Average age on the team is 25.8 years old. They are the third youngest team in the league. However, they have one of the worst salary cap situations when you factor in how much Trevor Lawrence, like this year, they're like mid-tier, but next year when the money starts to go in, 20% of the cap goes to him. So that's why the best luxury you can have is a good rookie quarterback on a rookie contract before the money kicks in, like a CJ Stroud. That's great. Like even Jordan Love, he got paid, but that starts next year, so they could still keep the core together. Brock Purdy, right? Like the Niners have the most cap space in the league available still. Maybe they go out there and get a receiver, right? Like, dude, Cooper Kupp would be amazing for them.
Yeah.
But they're not going to trade in division, you know. Even though actually Shanahan and McVay are boys, but yeah, actually the more I think about it, I don't think it's happening. No, I don't think it's happening. But with the Jaguars, bro, I agree with you, man. I agree with you. It's also, you got to think of like, dude, they probably thought they were chilling in the division. When Trevor Lawrence got there, you're like, yo, we found our quarterback. And now CJ Stroud is in there. You got to deal with him. I think the other two teams in the division, they'll probably be needing quarterbacks also. The more I watch Anthony Richardson, the more I'm like, for every amazing throw he makes.
Nick,
the
60-yard pass, dude.
I know, yeah.
That 60-yard pass.
It is. I think
That's
it is.
$60 million throw right there.
Bro, That's going to be a throw where people are going to be like, but dude,
Come on now.
He can't throw a check down to a tight end 4 yards down the field, but on a string 60 yards,
I'm
getting
just
hit.
Yeah.
Nah, I feel you, bro, because we were saying like that's going to get him paid. Yeah, the Jaguars, I think they're pretty down bad. They're going to need a head coach. Their good players are just not producing. Also, like Calais Campbell is I think 40 years old.
Yeah, dude.
He's been in the league forever.
He's like James Harrison 2.0.
Yeah,
It's like,
but he's still
hang it up.
productive. But that's they paid Josh Allen, Josh Hines Allen. I think he
Correct.
changed his name.
Get it right.
Yeah, sorry about that. And it just like you said, Etienne, but Tank Bigsby now kind of looks like Marshawn Lynch-ish, runs hard. So like, yeah, it's a weird situation. I'm with you on the Jaguars.
Their next 4 games, I'll list them off. I know I'd said it earlier. They got Green Bay this week, then they're at Philly, then they host the Vikings, and then they're at Detroit, and then they have a bye week. They will be 2-9. Sorry, Jaguars. But it's actually good for them. Hopefully they can keep acquiring 24-year-olds to hopefully make a run, right? I thought about it. I was like, all these teams also, Nick, that we're going to mention, they teeter on is the coach on the hot seat.
Yeah.
But Doug Peterson has a winning record as a Jaguars coach. It's tough.
Nah, totally, bro.
It's just it's a historically bad run.
Totally, yeah. Nah, for sure. It's been rough since like week 11 of last year. Since they made the thumbnail. Okay. I gotta go with my team. I think the New York Giants are definitely down bad. It gets worse and worse every week. By the way, I said a couple weeks ago, George collabed with me on the post. I think I might be back with the Giants. That was AI. That wasn't me. AI is getting crazy. That's who shot that video.
It was AI.
That was AI. That was not me.
It's wild.
Jaden Daniels is running wild in Washington. He could have been ours. The son of Joe Schoen told him, "Hey, Dad, draft Jaden. You might not have this job for too long." I think the son is 11.
Yeah.
Hello?
Yeah.
Anyone there? Fuck, man. Look, Schoen, I think since I was a big fan of his. I love the hire of him and Daboll. They helped build Buffalo into what Buffalo is now. They come to the Giants. I loved everything until Hard Knocks. I don't want to see my favorite team behind the scenes anymore, bro. Let me just have this false reality and perception of them. I don't want to see it because it was embarrassing. It was embarrassing. John Mara tells him like, "Yeah, I'm gonna be upset. He's our most popular player if he goes to Philly." And then that resurfaces when Saquon has a career day against the Giants. It's just the defensive line, the 3 guys on the defensive line, Burns, Dexter Lawrence, Ojulari is having a career resurgence. Thibodeau, whatever. I don't even know, dude. I was so excited when they drafted Evan Neal and Thibodeau. I'm like, holy shit, we got 2 top 5 guys. I'm good on both of them. Daniel Jones, I'm good on. Neighbors is awesome, but like, dude's gonna get 18 targets a game, get 8 catches, and get the shit kicked out of him every week. He's already missed time because of injuries. He was first in the league in targets by like 9. They're running him into the ground, and it's just bad. It's just bad when you look at the cap space. They only have $3 million in cap space. 4 teams in the NFL have a worse cap situation than them. It's just not a good roster. There's too many holes. It upsets me that they've had a bad offensive line now for a decade. Like, bro, how is it so bad? And they bring in some good players, but it's still bad. Who's the offensive line coach? Is it him? Is it the scheme? It's just weird, man. It's weird. And yo, I'm telling you, bro, for how bad the Giants are and just the aura around the Giants, it's so bad right now. I guarantee you Daniel Jones is going to leave the team. And he'll go somewhere like the Rams. He'll go somewhere where there's an offensive-minded coach. Yo, sit behind a Stafford, bro. Stafford got 1 more year. Sit behind. Do the Geno Smith thing. And then, bam, takes off. Good weapons around him. Infrastructure. Sean McVay's going to look at him and be like, oh, yeah, this is what we could do with you, bro. And then he'll have a Sam Darnold, Baker Mayfield kind of resurgence. It's going to happen with Daniel Jones, bro. It's going to happen because this is how bad the Giants are and just the aura around them, right? They're 0-19, it seems like, on primetime games. They're playing primetime against the Steelers. It's just not a good situation. The fan base is pissed off at them, but also the fan base, this is what you guys asked for. 3 wins in October last year. Woo! We beat the Packers on primetime. Enjoy now. This is what you got to deal with. My rant is over. I had to get that off my chest.
I need to ask you, do you think they make any moves? They try to get Kupp? Because I saw that Jack Settleman had tweeted, sources are Vikings and the Rams were in talks for Cooper Kupp, which means he's available.
Don't forget, Cooper Kupp played with Kevin O'Connell, won Offensive Player of the Year with Kevin O'Connell. So there is ties there. Kevin O'Connell was the offensive coordinator with the Vikings before he got the Vikings job. So there are some ties there. Look, I love Jack. Jack Settleman, shouts to Snapback Sports. He always shows us love. He's been on the show, reposts a lot of our stuff too. Why? Like, why? If you're Stafford isn't the answer to this. Kupp isn't the answer to this. These guys are north of 30, or Kupp is 29. Stafford, how much longer is he having? Stafford's already on a shit offensive line. He's going to go to the Giants, or it's going to be worse.
True.
It's not something that excites me. It's not something that excites me. Like, yo, call me crazy. You know what I would be down for? Trade for Justin Fields. He's young.
I would like that.
Give me a young guy that kind of has been beaten up and it's not going well for him. And we saw him with Pittsburgh. Like, yeah, buy low on a guy like that and see. And then draft someone in April if you have a top pick. That's what I would like to do. But this idea that you get bro, I think Tom Brady kind of fucked it up for a lot of people, bro. Because Tom Brady left, went to a new team, won a Super Bowl immediately. And you've seen everyone has this idea of, oh, shit, let's just get that
Brady ring.
Yeah, that aging quarterback. Look, and then the year after, it worked with Stafford, right? So it did work back-to-back years. Now everyone's like, holy shit, this is a trend. You saw the Jets tried to do it. Hasn't worked out yet so far. Steelers did it with Russ.
The Saints would like to say that they tried to do it.
Yeah.
Like, there's some teams that have made quarterback trade. Listen, we're trying to make Super Bowl winning moves here.
Bro, Kirk Cousins with the Falcons. Right?
Very
Aging
true.
guy. He's been pretty successful in the regular season. He didn't have no hardware, but maybe you sell yourself on this. That's what I would do. But with the Giants, and again, shout out to Jack. I just don't. When I saw that, I texted him and I was like, why though, bro? Like, I know it's a source and it's a report. Like, I get that, but I don't know. It's not something that would save us. We spent way too much time on the Giants. I had to just get that off the chest. Give us another team.
Yeah, they're 0-4 at home. The Giants are. So their fans would be pretty upset. But I'm just going to go straight to the other team that's in your division that's 0-3 at home, the Dallas Cowboys.
Whoa.
For the first time in a long time, the Cowboys can no longer be delusional in the sense that this is our year, right? I think this is the first year where the Cowboys fans have tempered their expectations a little bit because Dak Prescott is off to a historically bad start. Completely contradicts everything that we had been hyping him up about in the offseason. But, Nick, they're in a spot now where they've invested a lot of their cap space. I think if you're to look at the percentage, it's probably upwards of 30% into CeeDee Lamb and into Dak Prescott. They're not going to get rid of them. Like, this just happened. So you're stuck with them. Now, there is a premier player that is due for a contract next year, and that's Micah Parsons. Micah Parsons warrants $35 million a year. Go look at all the other top edge rushers. He will be getting that money unless you trade him and you start getting draft picks. And I think that's where the Cowboys fans can try to find some hope. But it does suck losing a generational talent like that. It really does. But a blockbuster trade is in your future.
You kind of split the 30% number. 2024, it's 20% CeeDee Lamb and Dak. Do you know what it is next year when both contracts get triggered?
It's going to be 40.
45.
Oh my God. What?
That's a lot of money for two dudes that kind of don't fuck with one another.
They need to listen. And I don't condone killing people. Jerry should possibly be assassinated. Like that's criminal.
That is a lot of money.
You could be thrown in jail for that.
That is a lot of money for those two guys, man. That's a lot of money for those two guys. It's a $89 million cap hit for Dak Prescott, and then it's $35 million for CeeDee Lamb. That's why when CeeDee Lamb signed that contract, Jerry was like, yo, that's a lot of money, right, bro? and look, yo, I'll say this about Jerry Jones. He pays everybody. He pays.
Yeah.
He's like, yo, come on, let's get it. But that is 45% of your cap is going to two players. And all signs from what you've seen, if you're a big body language guy, there's a lot of.
But the Cowboys do not like each other right now.
They don't fuck with each other.
They do not like each other at all. Ezekiel Elliott, bro.
I don't want to hear about him.
Changed his life. Bro, it's like he went to rehab. He was an addict. He goes to rehab, fucking gets the Patriot way, comes back, tries to bring in the vibes, and everybody's ignoring him. Listen to Ezekiel Elliott, all right? He was at least a part of a deep winning franchise, even though he never got to experience it. It just roams in the halls of the Patriots. They will be successful one day again. That's another one of the teams that we have to talk about. Is that it that I have for? Yeah. There's no way they keep Micah Parsons.
How could you, bro?
No way.
How could you?
So what do you get for him? Now you get some first-round draft picks. Does Shadur Sanders become your quarterback next year?
Think about this also. Trayvon Diggs, he can't cover anyone. He's a $15 million cap hit next year. Zach Martin is still solid, but he's not what you paid him for.
Deron Bland is like one of their cheapest players that they have on contract.
Yeah.
He set the NFL interception record last year. What is he worth? You know?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
you're going to have to pay him.
You're going to have to pay him, yeah. Right now, he's 1.1 million, excuse me.
Yeah. And he set an NFL record.
Yeah.
Like, bring that to the negotiating table. That's at least worth $10 million.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I tell you another team I think is down bad?
Hit me with it.
I mean, there's an obvious one we could not spend too much time on.
Which one's the obvious one to you?
The Browns. Browns are down bad.
Okay,
bro.
There's only one thing. They haven't had a first-round draft pick since 2021. So this will be the first year that they have a first-round draft pick. And it very well could be the first overall pick.
Could be, yeah.
So, I don't know. That's what Browns fans could be happy about.
Yeah, we spent enough time on Cleveland throughout the first couple of weeks of the season.
Do we
got to talk about the team here in Vegas.
Let's talk about the Antonio Pierce-led Raiders. What are your thoughts about the fans? We have two fans in the control room right now.
Mm-hmm.
And when I asked the two fans in the control room, Antoine and Isaiah
is not a fan. He's an Eagles fan. He's standing up right now in the control room.
He's contractually obligated, as I'm saying this right now,
yeah,
to say that he's a Raiders fan.
Yeah, you're a Raiders fan, bro.
Welcome, Isaiah. I'm extending your contract. I asked them, I was like, is Antonio Pierce on the hot seat? And they said things are so bad that how can he be on the hot seat? It's one of those situations.
Remember what I said in the beginning of the year about the Raiders when they made this hire? And look, I love Antonio Pierce. Won a Super Bowl with the Giants, brought some stability there. When you're in a shit relationship, like they were with Josh McDaniels, the new thing comes in and they treat you just a little bit better. Doesn't mean that it's better, but it's such an upgrade from the shit that you were getting every week and just the morale and the culture in the locker room. It doesn't mean that this is the answer and this is the guy you should go with. And he comes in and he says the right things like, I was a Raider fan, the Raider way, I get it. And he hypes up everyone. They win a couple games and they play better. The players back him. yeah, that's what's going to happen. They're going to come out and they're going to make him the head coach. But it doesn't mean that it was going to be the solution. And then, bro, within like 4 weeks into the year, it's like, yo, we made a mistake. And to me, when you factor that in, when you factor in that almost every game you play against a popular team, it's like 65-35 in favor of the opponent's fans in your building.
Mm-hmm.
So you have no home field advantage. You have to do a silent count against Pittsburgh. That is always wild to me. And I know the Chargers in LA, they have to do silent counts when like the Raiders go in there or some other, like, you know, when Philly went in there a couple of years ago. I think Phillip Rivers was there when they were playing in the soccer stadium. He's like, yeah, we have to do a silent count, bro, in the stadium. That's always crazy to me. But it's just a team that, you know, they probably won't do it. But what are you doing with Max Crosby? He has the Raider tattoo. He's a Raider player and he loves the Raiders. But do you potentially try to get rid of him or see what's available to better your team? Because he's being wasted there now too.
Yeah.
And they went in with Gardner Minshew and Aiden O'Connell, and that's not solutions, bro. You can't be doing that to people, trying to sell them on that. Go in there and be like, yo, there's going to be a rebuild. I think we were talking about that with the guys in the control room. Like, yo, tell us. Map out that, like, yo, you know what? We're going to do a rebuild. We're going to be bad this year. Don't give us this false hope. And I just think when you factor in all of that, I think the Raiders are pretty down bad.
Yeah. They're down bad. They're 2-5. They're one of those 2-5 teams that we are mentioning.
Devontae Adams wanted out.
And it happened, right?
Yo, also Brock Bowers is amazing. Like if you look at his numbers through the first 7 weeks, it's like first rookie tight end to do this, to do that, to do this. He's killing it, and everyone knew he was going to be like a can't miss prospect.
What do you do with him?
You just drafted Mayer not too long ago. Like, I don't think you don't make those kind. It was the same thing with the Giants with Saquon. If you're loaded everywhere else and your team is good, yeah, take a chance on a running back or a tight end. Like the Raiders are nowhere near a tight end away. So that's what I mean. Like if you're a team like, bro, that's why Philly every year they make a move for one of these like aging grizzled vets, and they could take the chance. They could take on contracts because your team is stacked. I just didn't agree with it. And, you know, the Giants and the Raiders, you look at the history of their first round picks over the last decade, it's awful, bro. Like no guy re-signs a second contract with either of those teams.
Yeah. I have an Alex Leatherwood jersey.
Whoa.
That is, what do they call that? One of those relics.
Yeah.
I need him to sign it.
It's so bad that it's a classic.
Yeah, bro. And I got it solely because I was like, the last name Leatherwood is all time
vintage
Leatherwood.
Yeah.
Leatherwood. Yeah, it was awesome. I liked it. And it was a silver jersey too. So it's double iconic. It's an alternate. Nick, have you seen the movie Major League?
I have.
Okay. So in the movie Major League, the premise, right? The owner wants the team to be really bad so that they move out of the city, right? So the Raiders are the movie Major League. Mark Davis made the Raiders really bad so that they would leave Oakland and come to Vegas. And by doing that, he was hoping to bring, you know, the eyeballs, the glitz, the glamour, the fame. And it came for a little bit, but then it just completely went away. Right? Like, so this guy, who, if I'm going to be honest, dude, he's in a category of people that I wouldn't let like my niece and nephew around. Like if Mark Davis is in the room and I have my niece and nephew, I would probably just tell him, hey, you're going to come with me instead of staying in this room with this man with the bowl haircut. And it's so wild to me that he is left in charge of being able to guide a franchise with such a storied history that his father really mapped out and put on the map. And he's kind of driving it in the ground by not making smart, intelligent, grown-up decisions with the roster and with the coach. I know you love AP. AP's now the head coach.
Yeah.
It's time to move on. They're going to lose these next two games. They got KC and the Bengals, and then it's the bye week. There's going to be
interim.
I wouldn't put it past Mark Day. And I'm not saying this because Antonio Pierce because he clearly deserves to stay, right? And I feel like Antonio Pierce deserves to stay, but Mark Davis is just so wild that it could happen at any moment. And then who do you replace him with?
You know what does suck is, to your point about moving them, they just don't feel right here, bro.
Nope.
Like
they are trying to at the stadium play into like this Hispanic heritage, like the La Raza. Like they're trying to hype up this community that, I'm gonna be honest, like it feels forced. You know what I mean?
I hear what you're saying, yeah, but to me, like, they were the LA Raiders, and then they went to Oakland. Like, the only other place you could go would be to go back to LA. Like, stay in that area.
Mm-hmm.
It just feels weird, bro. It's like a weird thing. Like, imagine if the Niners were in San Francisco, or the Cowboys were in Dallas.
Yeah.
Like, yo, the Raiders were an iconic they're an iconic franchise, bro. Like, the Raider hat is, I mean, you know, in the 80s and 90s, like every rapper had a Raider hat. It's kind of like the Yankee hat also. Yep. It's a very iconic logo, bro. Like, you see that in Europe too, because it's a cool logo
for sure.
And you make them the Vegas Raiders, it never was gonna sit well.
No, it's
just weird.
It hasn't sat well. I was telling my dad, like, had they known that this is where you want to take the franchise, right? You want to play into this. We're only like Hispanic fans, because bro, you weren't at the game early enough to see all like the festivities and all like the in stadium shit that they're really doing to promote like the Hispanic community. Like, you built the stadium in the wrong part of the town. You build that stadium in East Las Vegas.
Yeah.
Now you're gonna attract the crowd that you want, you know? But no, you built it on the Strip. We've hit all the points for them.
Before we move from this topic, Raider fans in there, is it weird that they're Vegas? Is it not weird that they're not? It's weird. Well, Isaiah can't say anything because he works for them. So Isaiah is out. Antoine gave us like a
50-50.
little 50-50. All right.
I get Oakland was trash. That stadium, the Oakland Coliseum, it's bad.
But I'm not talking about the stadium, because like, yo, Allegiant is beautiful. Allegiant is dope. I like how they have a lot of Vegas themed things as you walk around the arena. Like, stadium, that's cool. And it looks like a fucking spaceship. It's dope. When you fly into Vegas and you look at Raider Stadium, that shit is fucking gangster. However, it just don't, like, to me, they were not, like, the Packers can never leave Green Bay. The Steelers can never leave Pittsburgh. Like, there's just certain teams, like the Jaguars could leave Jacksonville, right? The Dolphins, they can't leave Miami. That's what I mean. Like, there's just certain things that just feel right, and it don't feel right. Let us know in the comments what you guys think about the down bad power rankings. Who's number one for you? I know we listed a bunch of teams, but like, who's the number one down bad franchise right now in your opinion, George?
I was waiting for this moment, man. The Saints are so we're handcuffed right now with Dennis Allen, and it's not a good time. Dennis Allen is 26-51 in his career as a head coach. And that puts him in the bottom 5 of winning percentages in NFL history for coaches that have coached that many games. What are we doing? He is lifeless on the sideline. The team has no energy, no passion. The Saints fans are a passionate fan base. Things have not really been, like, I guess, and written to light a fire underneath Dennis Allen's ass enough for like the fans to really start fire Dennis, starting doing that shit, and Mercedes-Benz Superdome. It hasn't necessarily happened yet. I think it's coming. I predicted this before the season. I knew that the Saints were going to have a very, very, very bad year. And now we won those first 2 games, and it delayed the inevitable. Dennis Allen, you will be fired this year. You are the next coach gone. And I'm telling you right now, Nick, if we don't get John Gruden, I'm done being a Saints fan. I'm being for real. If you bring a fucking pussy ass coach like Dennis Allen to coach the Saints again, I'm done with him. I'm done with him.
Yo, you know what's crazy?
What?
They have the most allocated cap in the league. They're paying so many guys that are no longer on the roster.
Michael Thomas.
It's just, yeah, it's crazy,
Being
man.
the biggest, I would imagine.
It's crazy. It's nuts. Yeah, they're pretty.
It's bad. It's all around.
Yeah,
All around bad. Spencer Rattler, not it. But I appreciate us like seeing this because we're going to be seeing a lot of this trial and error of rookie quarterback, not that much experience.
like yo,
Or do we get Gruden and then we get Stafford and Stafford wins a Super Bowl with the Saints next year?
I don't know.
I'm down to ring chase. I will say this. Down to ring chase.
Down the ring chase.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you end up winning a ring, it works and it's cool.
We like what the Saints did wasn't ring chase. They were trying to build with Derek Carr. It wasn't like we must win the Super Bowl now. Like I want that Jets level of intensity. Like if we don't win the Super Bowl, like we suck. This failed. I want that pressure as a Saints fan.
Okay. Are you ready to get into some picks?
Yeah, dude. Let's see this. I just because we talked about it on the last episode, not all my picks add up to week 8. So I'm gonna start doubling up. Maybe not this week because I didn't necessarily like it.
Well, here's
try
the
to get it
thing.
to balance.
So like I'll give you an example.
I'm fucking sweating like James Brown in here with the bomber jacket on.
Like yo, in this economy for me is 6-3 because there were some weeks where like I doubled up.
Yeah.
You know, so like that'll happen. Toxic one is 4-2 because there was one game, I think it was the Bills Texans game. I was like, there's not really a side I would just not bet that game at all.
Yeah.
So yeah, if your record is
A little
it doesn't
little
equate to
cattywampus.
7 picks on each one, like it's totally fine. Yeah, but week 8 picks, I do want to mention one thing. On the year, trust me, in this economy, and Adriana is 15-8-1 for me. In this economy is 6-3. Adriana is 3-4. Ursolita's 1-6. Trust me is 6-1, and the toxic one is 4-2. George, do you have your updated record?
toxic one for me is 1-5. Ugh. Ursolita 3-2. Trust me 3-3. In this economy 3-3. Adriana 4-3. So I'm over 500 and a majority of them are at 500. Toxic one has been, but good thing we don't play that one.
We don't play that one. Yeah, we don't play that one. And then Ursolita's killed me 1-6. So if you've been betting the game I told you not to bet, like the ugly one, you'd be doing well. I want to start off with, in this economy, I'm going to go with a prop.
Oh, I like it.
You ready for this?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he'll be active. But Ricky Pearsall to score a touchdown plus 320 in this economy? No Ayuk. Debo got pneumonia. Who would have thought that the healthiest wide receiver on the Niners right now got shot 2 months ago? That's fucking wild. If he plays this week, which they're expecting him to suit up, Jawan Jennings might also sit. So that's another guy who they paid in the offseason. He's the first round pick for the Niners. Based on opportunity, plus 310 for a starting wide receiver. He's cleared. Prime time. Can you not talk about narratives? You know they're going to do a special on, he's going to have a sit-down interview with like Chris Collinsworth or some shit. And Michelle Tafoya is going to be like, it's crazy. 2 months ago, he got shot and now he scores a touchdown. And guaranteed a tribute's coming. Plus 320, Ricky. Sweet Ricky scoring a touchdown, baby. Lock it up.
Fuck, that's such a good one.
Isn't that good? Bro, that got me excited when I saw that. I was like, that's a goodie.
It definitely doesn't sound as good as this one.
Okay.
But I definitely think this game has all the inklings of one of the highest scoring games of the year. Give me the over in the Seahawks versus Bills game at 46.5. The Bills really healthy. I think Josh Allen and Amari Cooper are about to really start tearing it up. Couple of weeks now, we've been seeing the chemistry come together, so that's amazing. The Seahawks put up a lot of points. Now, I do know DK Metcalf is on that questionable list with his knee, but it doesn't matter. These teams don't play defense. That's the most important thing you need to know about this one. In this economy, for that to only be 46.5, I love it. I thought I was going to click on that and see 50. I think this is not necessarily placed at the correct over-under line. Nick.
Okay.
Can I go now with my Ursolita?
Sure.
Because we didn't get a chance to talk about them and the teams that are down bad at the top.
Okay.
I fucking love the Browns this week. Even though it's ugly. And like, why would you bet on the Browns versus the Ravens? They're a 9-point dog at home. But there's one X factor in this game that I really think is going to make a difference, and it's not Jameis Winston. People thought I was going to hit him with the Jameis Winston because I love him so much. But it's Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb was on a bit of a pitch count this past week. Nick Chubb is going to be full go. Nick Chubb is going to control the game. And this game is, 9 points, 2 possessions. If the Cleveland Browns can get the run game going and Jameis Winston doesn't turn the ball over, this game will be close. And it's in division. I like it for all those reasons, but it's Ursolita because how the fuck can you put money on the Browns? What's yours?
No, I like that one. I like that. Home division dogs are 3-9-1 this year. It's usually a spot that a lot of professional bettors kind of blindly always take, especially when you're getting close to a touchdown. Because remember what I told you, 9.5-point underdogs are Cleveland at home. If they were playing in Baltimore, they'd be 15.5-point road dogs. You'd probably take that.
Correct.
Right? Especially how Cleveland plays. I would take that. If I see more than 2 touchdowns that you got to lay,
Fact.
I'm not taking the favorite. I'm going to take the points there. Always. Almost like by default. I just have to. I'm with you on that. I kind of like that one. That's a pick again that you don't make.
Bro,
last year.
I did the research before the show. I was listening to the press conferences. The vibes are high. The Nick Chubb going off, I could have put some of that in this economy for some of his props, but I just didn't look. But I really do have a feeling he's going to have one of those days where it's like 2 touchdowns, then another montage of, hey, this dude's broke his leg like 4 times. Crazy, he's still playing in the NFL, right? So is that your Ursolita as well?
No, my Ursolita. And, we do need to give out an anytime TD parlay.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to have Ricky. We're going to have Tyreek Hill in it.
I love that.
Ursolita this week. Miami -3 at home. Tua's back.
Yep.
They're playing the Cardinals off a win on the road in Miami. Bro, listen, say what you want about Tua. They win when he plays.
Yep.
Even though their ceiling is limited, when he plays, they're a winning team, winning franchise. When he doesn't play, they're like 2-13. It's bad. Tyreek Hill ends up being Danny Amendola on the Pats. Right? It's bad. He's back this week. I think Miami's going to put up a 30 spot on Arizona because Arizona gives up a lot of points.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. It's my favorite Ursolita of the year.
Yeah.
-3. And it's gross because they're just not playing well. Tua could go in there, bro, and he could get hurt again.
Mm-hmm.
That's definitely possible. But I'm just looking at it from the betting standpoint. Like, you look at the 67% of the tickets are coming in on the Cardinals. The line has moved 3.5 points. But it's about 50-50 on the money.
Yeah.
So I like Miami, man. I like Miami.
I really like that pick too. I watched
my favorite Ursolita of the year.
Tua's press conference from today, and today's Wednesday, so if you want to go and find it, it was really good. Like, all the reporters asked him in like 15 different ways, hey, do you know that if you continue to have concussions that you're probably going to kill yourself. And Tua answered every single one with, I love football. And if I die on the field, that's what I want. Ultimate football guy move.
Super football guy move.
Ultimate football guy.
sure.
He's got my respect in that regard. I still think he's an average quarterback, but he is the only quarterback on that roster that can accurately throw it to Tyreek.
Yeah. And yo, man, look, this is he knows the dangers. He's taking it upon himself. I don't know if you could force someone to not do something they want to do. If he wants to play and now he knows the risk that he's taking on if he does get concussed again. And it sucks, bro, because all of last year he didn't suffer no concussion. And this wasn't a hit that was like a dangerous hit. He initiated it and he got hurt, which is also scary too. But I don't think you could tell someone, man, if he wants to play, he wants to play, and he's taking on the risk. I wish him luck.
If that motherfucker covers this weekend, that's all that matters.
Yeah. Listen, I
Just need
saw
him to
Justin
cover.
Herbert on Thursday Night Football sacrifice a rib because he covered the 4.5 against the Chiefs.
Dog.
He should have been out. He should have been out. Can I tell you the toxic one this week?
Hit it.
Oh, bro. I mean, Bo Nix and Denver are 10-point favorites. They are 10-point favorites.
Yes.
10-point favorites
Yes.
against the Panthers.
Yes.
Holy fuck.
Get used to it.
Bro,
That's a Bo
look.
Nix line right there, my friend.
Listen, they are on fire.
Mm-hmm.
After 0-2, they've won every game outright. They have extra time to prepare because they played last Thursday. However, holy shit, Bo Nix is a 10-point favorite. I can't bet it. I'm not saying to take the Panthers by any means. No way.
Right.
But bro, I can't. I don't feel comfortable enough.
Yeah.
I do not. I can't trust it. That's why it's the toxic line of the
Bro,
week.
isn't
Now
it-
maybe I think they win. You could do like a money line of them and like the Chargers. I'd be in on. You know, the Chargers are 8-point favorites against your Saints. I don't trust 7.5 for the Chargers. 8 for the Chargers. Maybe a money line. You get like -120 on two -350 favorites. Yeah, I'd be down with it, but not with the points. I can't do the points. No way. No, George, I'm not in. I can't do it.
That is that's hilarious that you chose that game, because I didn't choose that game because, you know, Bo Nix truther here. So it somewhat made sense to me. Do you think the book put this at 10 just because they're like, I don't think people like will put action on it if we put this at like 2.5 or 3? Like, I think people would really avoid it then.
Yeah, it could be.
And I think at 10, it makes people like us be like, watch out. Everybody's going to put their money on the Broncos here, thinking that the number is telling them the truth. I don't know. I think they'll cover. But it's a toxic one, so we're staying away from it anyways. The toxic one for me, and this is a situational toxic, because I think the game obviously is going to be fun to watch. It's going to have a lot of bets. The Cowboys as 4.5-point underdogs traveling to the 49ers. They're traveling to the 49ers, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Sunday Night
Just want
Football.
to make sure. Both these coaches are on the hot seat. So there's extra motivation. There's extra trick plays and wrinkles that will be thrown in this week, since it is such a historic rivalry. A lot of the people are going to throw their bets on the Cowboys as underdogs this week. And be careful. I know we just talked about the 49ers a little bit. They are depleted. The cluster injuries at the receiver position are nuts. But I still think Kyle Shanahan has got Mike McCarthy's number. And this is going to be one of those spots where people look at Kyle Shanahan and it extends his career in a sense, because he's on a bit of a fucking down streak right now. You can't keep losing in the big time games.
Yeah.
Mike McCarthy's in the same exact situation.
Sure.
That's why this game, to me, it should really be maybe -2.5. Maybe this game is close to a pick 'em. Both these teams are liable to be really bad. So toxic one for me. Stay away from that game.
I love that you mentioned the cluster injuries, because it's a term that a lot of professional sports bettors always reference. And it's not a pick, but I like Sterling Shepard to score a touchdown this week
Okay.
at +285. No Mike Evans, no Chris Godwin. I think that hurts Baker and the Bucks. We said no Ayuk. potentially no Jennings or Debo. Cluster injuries is when you have a lot of injuries to one positional unit. You're better off missing your starting corner, starting wide receiver, and your starting running back than missing all three of your wide receivers. Because now you have your fourth, fifth, and like a practice squad guy filling into starting roles. The drop off there is crazy. So a lot of professional sports bettors, when it comes to cluster injuries, it's been one of my favorite terms over the years. And when you start to understand it, it makes sense, right? Cluster injuries, the Chiefs in the Super Bowl, they had 4 new starters on the offensive line. That should have been the handicap for you. So I like that you mentioned that, man, and hats off to you, because that's why I like Sterling Shepard to score a touchdown. I will say this.
Yeah.
Adriana got to get me right, bro.
Yeah,
Adriana,
she's been rough to you.
I think, listen, a couple of things are back. I'm back in New York this weekend. Adriana Lima came back to the Victoria's Secret fashion show. Victoria's Secret fashion show is back. Great girls all around.
Yes.
And the Bengals are back. Monday winner, -2.5. Still -2. Adriana is Cincinnati, bro. They are back. They're at home. They've lost 3 games in a row at home. They haven't won yet at home. Everyone is healthy. I think they're realizing, we need Chase Brown out there. Jamar Chase, T. Higgins. Burrow is putting up MVP numbers. They win this game. They get to 4-4. Philly coming off a monster win against the Giants on the road. Now they're going into Cincy. The Eagles, slow starters. 0-6 against the spread in the first quarter this season. Only team in the NFL without a first quarter against the spread cover this year. Eagles' first quarter offense, George, 13 possessions, 175 yards.
Wow.
That's awful. Last 20 years, only 3 teams have not scored a first quarter point through 7 weeks. 4-13, the Jets went in 2021. 0-16, the Lions went in 2008. And 5-11, the Cardinals in 2005. Now, Philly's way better record, and I don't think they're going to have the fate of these teams, but it just puts it into perspective how slow starters they are. And I think them at home, Cincinnati, that is, I love this spot. I love this spot a lot.
That's good. That's good. I like that. I like the explanation, the breakdown, because I'm in between on the Chiefs right now. I mean, we were super high on Saquon, but I think after we've seen the way they use him, we're like, come on now. Run that motherfucker into the ground. Like, what are you guys doing? You guys need to be up in those numbers. Those are rookie numbers that you guys are giving Saquon right now. You hit me with your Adriana. I'm going to ride the team that has officially won me over this season.
Okay.
And I knew at the beginning of the season, I was like, man, it's tough for teams to find one good quarterback. But when teams find 2 good quarterbacks, and good quarterbacks to me are ones that you could put out there and you could feel confident that maybe today we will win this game. Russell Wilson coming in for the Steelers this past week. After Justin Fields, like I told you, he was playing really good. Justin Fields was trying to avoid this situation. Unfortunately, Justin Fields doesn't go undefeated. Russell Wilson gets the nod. And the Steelers, it doesn't matter. Whoever plays at the quarterback position for them, they are going to be fine. Najee Harris looks like he's finally taken off the denim jeans that he's been wearing for the past 2 years. He's running real, like he's got shorts on now, Nick. His knees are getting above 90 degrees. It's phenomenal. He's fast. Didn't know he had it in him. I thought it was just at Alabama. Steelers -6.5 versus your Giants on Monday Night Football. Nick, they may beat them by 20 points. I think this Steelers defense, they all are still remaining somewhat healthy. And now as I'm saying that, I'm not sure about Patrick Queen. Quay Walker's the linebacker that got injured for the Packers. Yeah, the Steelers defense is legit. Adriana, -6.5, Steelers.
Yeah,
back-to-back week for me in the Steelers.
Yeah.
In this spot,
you love them. You love them. I can't blame you, bro. Like they should go in there. And again, Giants are on Monday Night Football. It's always bad on Monday Night Football. Pittsburgh just matches up so well with them. They should win by 3 touchdowns. Yeah, The Giants should be able to move the ball on them. especially when you saw the Jets not be able to move the ball on them really after that first quarter when they jumped out. Yeah, I'm with you on that one. Okay, the last one for me, trust me. Usually I don't like taking big point spreads, but I did last week with Buffalo. Ironically enough, the team I'm going to take is playing the same team that the Bills played last week. I don't know how you didn't mention this because no one likes the Lions more than you. That's not a Lions fan.
I know, but I just feel like it's so mainstream right now. I don't want to be the hipster.
I think you can be a hipster on this one. They're 11-point favorites against the Titans. Jared Goff at home, double-digit favorite in his career. Sorry, in his career, Jared Goff as a double-digit favorite, 6-4 against the spread. This is going to be the first time since he joined the Lions that he'll be a double-digit favorite at home. We want Jared Goff, who, by the way, MVP numbers.
Yes.
MVP candidate. He was 17-1 prior to the Vikings game. Now he's top 4. He's plus 800. Jared Goff against the spread indoors, 40-18 against the spread. 30-10 the last 4 seasons. You don't want to bet him outdoors. I think the Lions are firing on all cylinders on offense. I think they should be able to put up 40 points easily on Tennessee. And not for nothing, they're kind of dicks too. Detroit will run the score up on you. Mm-hmm. They opened up, they were like, we don't care if we're not going to keep this for a playoff game. Like, no, we're doing fucking laterals. Linemen are catching passes, flea flickers. We're doing all that shit.
Yeah.
Right? We're going to embarrass you. And they're at home. The Titans just lost D-Hop. Who knows who else they might lose before the game. I'm on that. The double digits don't scare me. The trust me on the year is 6-1, and I'm going to the Lions minus 11 as my trust me for week 8.
Nick, I love that spot for the Lions. So much so that I want to add this onto it.
Okay.
If you can find a prop for them to possibly have a shutout, because I think the thing that I learned last week is Aiden Hutchinson's great. There's a lot of other really, really good defensive players that they have. Their linebacking core is insane. They can all pass rush really well. It's one of the better defenses in the NFL, and the Tennessee Titans are depleted. I can easily see maybe not a shutout, Nick, but add a Lions defense to score a touchdown. Like I don't know if it'll be 30-1, 20-1 on this game, but that would be what I would want.
Plus 800.
Oh my God.
They score a touchdown. The defense, yeah.
And special teams. Isn't that bullshit? That's like, to me, that number should be way.
I'm glad that you mentioned that. Real quick, be very careful what sports book you're betting on. It happened to me. I bet a anytime touchdown, and it said defense, and the special teams scored the touchdown, and I didn't get paid out for it.
Got it.
There's some sports books
that have it.
Not many, but there's some, and unfortunately, because I bet on all the apps. What apps do you use? All of them. Take advantage of all of them. Shop the lines. I bet a defense to score a touchdown. They scored a touchdown. It was the highest odds. But it wasn't the defense that scored. It was a punt return. And I didn't get paid out.
That's tough.
So apparently that sports book has defense and then special teams. Most of them, I'd say like 95% of them
are combined.
I'm the asshole that found the one fucking sports book that didn't pay me out. So just be careful.
Yeah.
Be careful. Those disclaimers that you don't read and you just agree to terms, you got to be a little conscious of it. Many years ago, when the Damar Hamlin incident happened, if you bet win totals in the AFC North and the AFC East because they didn't play 17 games, the whole division got voided. So if you had a Bills over, which actually I'm pretty sure the Bills went over, even without that game. But if you had Jets unders, you had Pats overs, whatever you bet total-wise, you didn't get paid out in many books because the disclaimer is all teams must play 17 games.
Yep.
And since they didn't pay it out. So again, just be careful. Again, wild circumstances, right?
Mm-hmm.
All the sports books offer defense and ST. I picked the one that didn't have it. And then also we had that life-altering, potentially, play with DeMar Hamlin. So
Yeah.
again, just be careful. It crossed my mind
Yeah.
as you mentioned
And
that.
by the way, I would rather it be separate. What do you think the better odds would be? Better odds meaning
Like the longer shot would be special teams for sure.
really?
Yeah, it's way harder to score a special team touchdown, especially with the kickoff and like how many punts actually get recorded.
But you actually, yeah, you're right. No, you're right on that. You're right on that. Then there's more defensive plays, way more opportunities. I just find it that at the end of last year was an anomaly. There was a lot of defensive touchdowns last year to start the season. I remember us talking about it. It was like if you put just every team to do it, you would be like up $32,000.
And bro, and not even any time. We were talking about like first.
Yeah.
It was like
Yeah.
first touchdown score, defense, special teams. You get like 25, 30, 50 to 1. And there was a stretch where there was like 3 a week, it felt like. We were talking about that.
Yep.
And then, of course, I started betting it, and then none happened
Never.
for like 6 weeks. And then I punted away like $800. But hey, that's the game we play. That's the game we love.
Nick, my trust me.
Okay, yeah.
Falcons -2.5 at the Buccaneers. Buccaneers, we've been talking about it. They're depleted as well. The Falcons in this spot, division rival. They're 2-0 against the spread on the road this year. I really, really like them. Kirk Cousins, this could be a show-out game. And they finally, Nick, it's crazy, right? They drafted Bijan Robinson first round 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
They're giving him the ball now.
Yeah, who would have
They're
thought?
handing him off the ball.
Yeah.
They're scoring rushing touchdowns. It's almost like that's what a running back should be doing. Bijan Robinson is my anytime touchdown scorer.
You want to throw him in the parlay?
Throw it in the parlay.
All right. Speaking of which, let's do the parlay.
Yes.
Tell me when you don't like it.
When I don't like it,
Yeah, like
one that I don't want to put in.
yeah. Or are we're just going guns blazing, raw like Monday night. You don't care. We're entering this.
Well, Bijan.
That's how I want to roll.
Okay, Bijan Robinson.
All right.
Lock it up.
Bijan Robinson, same game. What do you think of Sterling Shepard?
I like it. There's no options.
There's no option.
This is like the low key cluster injury
Yeah.
anytime TD. Part.
Cluster injury, Ricky Pearsall,
Yes.
right? Come on, it's in this economy. We're going with Ricky
Yes.
and Tyreek Hill.
Tyreek Hill has not like been playing for the past 4
Dude,
weeks.
how about this? Tyreek Hill ladder this week. He said, yo, fantasy managers, this is why I went top 10. Like, start me this week. No, 3 touchdowns, Tyreek Hill. Dom, clip this. Dom, when you see this, you better clip this because he's scoring 3 touchdowns. He's my ladder. Tyreek Hill to score 3 touchdowns is my ladder. The anytime touchdown parlay for week 8. Bijan Robinson, Sterling Shepard, Ricky Pearsall, Tyreek Hill. Ready for this, George?
$50,000.
45 to 1.
Wow.
I like it. No, I don't. I love it.
Let's go.
Let's go, baby.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Let's go with the cluster injury anytime touchdown parlay. Tua is back.
Yeah.
Tua throws 3 touchdown passes. He's back.
He's back. All to Tyreek. He's back.
Yeah.
Yo, and it ties into the theme. Like, I'm back in New York. Adriana Lima's back. Victoria's Secret's back. The Bengals are back. Tyreek is back. It's back week.
The bullet that shot Ricky Pearsall came through his front, went out his back.
Oh, I'd say I think we're gonna go print this week.
Yeah.
We're printing, baby.
Let's go.
Let's go. Everybody stay tuned. This is a very long episode of Veterans Minimum. We got combo coming on right now after we do Patreon. We do some NBA futures. We do MVP, finals matchup, rookie of the year, win totals, all that stuff. Stick around and check that out. Before we do go, though, patreon.com/veteransminimum. Daniel Gibson, Mahul Patel, Abel Rezin, Ben Kotzian, Christopher Velasquez, Derek Plates, Devin Rendon, Dylan Chadwick, Jerry Shapiro, Jordan Riley, Mike Stevens, Nick Crummich, Thomas Robinson. Thank you all for your contributions to the Patreon. And George, before we go, I asked this question to Combo. I want to get your thoughts. I'm not going to give an answer, so it'll just be you because I give an answer
Yeah.
on there. I have this theory that based on how you play sports at any level, and I'm not saying you need to be good or if you're bad. That is a personality trait that I take from the court, the mat, or the field, and I bring that into real life. Is there any truth to that? Do you buy into that? Do you get what I'm saying?
I 100% get what you're saying. This is why people in the business world go and do company retreats where they all have to do like the little games together to see like how each other reacts to certain situations, right? I know we're going to be talking ball here, so if you're a person that isn't communicating on the court, like even just to get up to snuff as to what's going on, you don't have to know what the hell is happening. Like if I played hockey, I would be out there lost. I would be hustling, but I would be asking people, hey, where do you want the puck to go? I would be proactive in trying to be good. So when you are out there and you're lollygagging and you're a fucking, I don't know, a wallflower is what I would call them, right? Like those people that they're out there on the court, but they're not doing anything at all. They're being a wallflower. They're wallflowers in life as well. And there is a lot of similarities and traits that you can find from the way that people act on the court to off the court, without a doubt. Now, there are some negative ones too. You got to be careful for the ball hogs. The people that are always looking out for themselves, pass me the ball, let me shoot all the time. Those people could also go home and, they steal from their kids. They do the worst things possible. That's what ball hogs do.
Okay. My answer, you'll hear my answer in just a bit. I just want to get your thoughts before we sign off on this episode. Stick around. Like I said, patreon.com/veterans minimum. All things veterans minimum are at veterans minimum. George, what's your social media handle?
At Mr. George Carmona is where you can find me. Episode of Pit and Pool coming out right now. It's out right now. So go watch it.
Stay tuned. Make sure you guys support the show at Patreon, like we just said. Big ups to the members of the Patreon. 75 members. Shout out to Jory in the control room, pledging $1 American. Don't be cheap, yo. $1 American. It's $10 a year he's giving. You don't even realize that on his statements. Regular shit. You know what I'm saying? Our guest today, we're going to end the show with some NBA talks. A dude whose content I appreciate. I love his work ethic. I love that he's consistent. And he's a dude that we've had on the show a bunch of times. It's been a while. But ladies and gentlemen, my dog, Combo's Court, calling in. What's good, bro?
What's the vibes? How are you, bro?
All is well, man. All is well. I told you right before we started recording, we played a little catch up. And life is good, man. Like Future said, life is good. I'd be a fool to be complaining. It's everything I wanted and more, bro. How you doing?
I'm doing well, man. Technology is great. I'm just happy to be out in Vegas with you virtually. I mean, we've done it before in person, but it's good to be there. I love technology, bro. So it's good to be with you.
Hell yeah, man. It's been a while. Before we get into the NBA, I've been running with this little theory that I have, and I don't know honestly if it's a theory combo. It's more so just like whether it's training martial arts or when I played football at any level, when I hooped, when I play soccer, any sport, I feel like I could learn a lot about someone based on how they approach athletics. And what I mean by that is their demeanor on the field or on the mat or on the court. Like, are they conservative with their approach? Like, do they play not to lose? Do they play sort of missionary style of athletics, like not to lose? Let's not blow this lead. Let's play it safe. Or are they aggressive? Are they risk takers? And I kind of feel like when I meet someone in an athletic venture, the way they perform, and I'm not saying they need to be all-stars or doing anything crazy, but just their approach. Is there any truth to that? Do you feel like I'm making sense? Are you confused by it? What are your thoughts on that take?
I think it is true for a lot of people, but even in my own head right now, I'm thinking like, damn, I didn't even thank Nick that he had me back on the show. Like, I got to thank him. I feel like I'm such a nice guy off the court, but and thank you for having me back on the show, Nick. But on the court, I think I'm a lot meaner, bro. I think I'm a lot meaner on the court. I think I've said things to people on the court that I kind of regret, and there's not as much of that in my real life. So I think there are some people where that's true, but for myself, I just think I'm a lot meaner on the court than I am off the court.
Well, I don't mean like if you're mean or nice on the court. I just mean like the way you play. Like, for example, are you someone when the game is on the line, you're hiding in the corner and you don't want the rock? I was always someone that I wanted to decide the outcome of a game.
Yeah.
I wanted the last shot. I wanted to, let's go for it on fourth down. I always went fifth on penalty kicks. I know Jory's a soccer guy. If you guys are soccer guys, when you go fifth, it's like we're either winning the game here or you need to score in order for us to stay alive. Like, I wanted that shit all the time, right? So that's what I mean by it. Like, I'm kind of aggressive in my approach on a day-to-day, in the sense of like, I love taking risks. I love putting myself out there. And the way I always played is kind of how I live my life. That's what I meant by that.
Yeah, I think I'm the same way as you. And I think when I look back at my career, I never wanted any regrets. So I was more like you. Like, I always wanted to take the last shot. I always wanted to be in my hands. But also another thing, which is kind of the elephant in the room, we're both from New York. And I think New Yorkers are very aggressive in general. And that's why we do so well, not only in New York, but as you could see with yourself, like when you leave New York, because it's hard for the competition to match that New York mentality.
No, that's a fact, bro. And you don't realize it until you leave. That's the one biggest takeaway I've had since I moved. Because for us, it's kind of normal shit our day to day. And you're
Right.
born and raised in it, and you don't realize it until you leave. Like, bro, the West Coast, amazing weather. I think that has a lot to do with the personality of the people out here. They're way too chill. And
Yeah.
dudes be getting lapped left and right. So, yeah, it was just an interesting take, man. I would love to hear everyone's thoughts in the comments. Let us know what you guys think about that. Do you feel as if the way people play sports, it kind of depicts their real life and if they're aggressive or not? Yeah, I've just been fascinated by that, bro. I go down these rabbit holes.
That's actually, yeah, that's just an amazing way to start the show. Like, I love that conversation. And I think there is definitely correlation between how people are off the court and on the court. But you know me, as I said, like, I feel like I'm a little different on both sides, but I definitely, with the aggressive part, I think like that matters. And that is what happens on both sides. Like, usually if you're aggressive on the court, you're probably an aggressive person off the court. I would agree with that.
Yeah, I had this conversation with George earlier in the show, and he's more of a football guy, so I wanted to just pick your brain about it. And yeah, man, I want to pick your brain about some NBA stuff, dude. I got to give you your flowers, bro. Anytime you call out, I've told you this before, anytime you call out some random like Euro guy that got undrafted or got picked, like pick 47 in the draft, if they get the combo cosign, I'm like, all right, this guy's gonna be he's gonna be a problem. He's gonna be a guy that's gonna make some noise. Real quick, what is it that you look for in a player that might be on the unknown that you've been able to point out some of these gems and let the people know some of the guys that you kind of co-signed before they blossomed into who they are now?
Yeah, I mean, some of these players were great players already. I mean, Tyrese Halliburton's one of them. I felt like the Knicks passed on him. Anthony Edwards, yeah, he was the number one pick, but he was one of the most heavily scrutinized number one picks ever. Bones Highland's another guy who's had some nice flashes in the NBA. I think I've named, like, honestly, look, it's interesting, Nick, because I will only pull up when I got it right, but it is kind of scary. I'm not going to lie. Like, it is kind of scary how much I am right with it, even though I'll only pull it up when I am right on IG and all that. So what I look for is not only how good the player is, how his skill set will fit in the NBA. And like Chet Holmgren's another guy. Like, he didn't have a super, like, he was a very good college player, but he didn't have like a super amazing college career. But even though it was only 1 year, but I just felt the way his skill set would fit in the NBA was absolutely perfect. And that's what I usually look for.
I love that you said that, man, because sometimes guys are great in college and then it doesn't translate to the next level. You see that in all sports too. But with
Timmy, like Drew Timme, his team, like, he was literally better than Chet in college, right? But you know, Chet's game fits the NBA way better than Timme, even though Timme was the better college player.
Let's start actually with the guys coming in now that we're on this theme, right? I know I'm kind of throwing a curveball at you, but we were going to discuss Rookie of the Year. Last year, it was Wemby, and it was kind of like Wemby was like minus 300, which is something really ridiculous. Like from a betting perspective, very rarely do you see futures with a minus number in front of it, especially at the start of the year, right? Like even the glory days of the Warriors, prior to them getting Durant, you could still get like plus 200, plus 300. The Patriots in the NFL at the start of the season, you could get plus 600. And we would always say, bet them now because come playoff time, they'll have home court or home field in football. And then that's the highest number that you'll be able to get. Wemby was minus 300. I remember when the Warriors signed Boogie and Durant, they were like minus 150. That's the only time in my life, bro, I've seen a futures like that. I say all that in asking you, who's your Rookie of the Year this year?
I got to go with Matas Buzelis of the Chicago Bulls. I love his mentality, the way he approaches the game, and he also has great feel on both sides of the floor, super athletic at 6'9", and he's going to get a lot of opportunity with the Bulls. The shooting does have to improve, but I love everything else about his game, and I think he will become the NBA Rookie of the Year.
You could get him at 10-1 right now.
That's I want to do that, Nick.
I'm gonna take your word for it, bro. Like I said, these young guys coming in right away, if they get the cosign, you know, it's interesting, right? Because I feel like, where did he go to school, or is he a Euro guy?
G League Ignite. The last year, there will be no more G League Ignite, but he's from that last class.
How did do you think
he is from Europe though? By the way, yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah, the name kind of gave it away that he was definitely a European guy. That's what drew my attention to him when you mentioned it, because like, you know, Scoot Henderson was the guy, because I remember he played over here in Vegas and I went to a game and I got to see him play. And I just remember all the hype about him, and was this going to start a trend of guys not going to college and then going straight into the G League? And I think the jury's still out. It's still a new revelation. So you can't really go all in on that take yet. The guy that jumped out to me, I think because of the opportunity, it's Zach Edey. This might be a Memphis Grizzlies podcast, bro. I love Memphis this year. There's so much Memphis love on this one. And Zach Edey, to me, I think the opportunity is going to be there, and he is the favorite at plus 300. But 8 of the last 15 Rookie of the Years were the preseason rookie favorites. So if there is an award where, yeah, that guy's going to win it, that's about like 60% in favor of the guy that is the favorite. What do you think of Zach Edey?
Yeah, man. I actually wasn't that high on him. I was a lot lower on him than everybody else, but he's been playing really well in the preseason. And as I said, like, I look at NBA Fit, and my thing is, are the Memphis Grizzlies going to go with Zach Edey post touches on a regular basis? And that's what his game is really revolved around, which doesn't really match the modern NBA game. Like, let's say like a Chet, as I said, but you know, he's playing great. And I think this Memphis Grizzlies team could be really good with Ja Morant back. Yeah, we'll see what develops. He's been really good in preseason, but honestly, Nick, I wasn't as high on him as everybody else.
Yeah, I think he kind of overperformed based on what everyone thought. A lot of people felt the way you did, right? And I think he had a pretty good summer league and then in the preseason too. And it's a very popular team, bro. Let's not forget, this Memphis team 2 years ago was the 2 seed, and they ran into the Lakers. And then last year you had all the stuff going on with Ja Morant, which kind of segues into my MVP, bro. I'm gonna give you 2 MVP picks.
Okay.
If you wanna, if you wanna gamble and get a little crazy, I told you this in DM. You had posted something about it. This has all the makings of the "Ya Must Have Forgot" year by Ja Morant. He's 35-1. All of his peers, from a narrative standpoint, have surpassed him in the sense of how Minnesota has done last couple of years, how Dallas has done last couple of years. And he's the guy that was the guy. And then he had the incidents with the guns. He got hurt. I mean, dude, he came back that one game last year and he nearly had a triple-double. I remember I same game parlayed him all overs and he crushed them. 35-1, bro. That's a wild number. I think Memphis if they could pick up from what they did 2 years ago, mainly because of him, I think they could be a top 3 seed. You could get that at plus 260. I find that one really interesting. They're still a young team. I always like backing young teams in the regular season. If you remember, I think we did the show together last year. I had the Thunder at plus 400 to be a top 3 seed, and they ended up being that. They ended up being the 1 seed. And it's the thing of young teams, bro. They just care more about the regular season. They have the legs to get through the regular season, where the Spurs started this back in the day. You had the Lakers kind of now, where let's just be healthy. Miami, we've seen it year after year. They get in as a 6 seed, then they're in the conference finals out of nowhere. Memphis checks a lot of boxes for me, and I just love John Morant at 35-1 to be the league MVP.
Yeah, I mean, I like that pick. And I do want to go with Luka, but from a betting perspective, that's probably not the best way to go, right? Because he's probably the favorite. So from a betting perspective, I would go with Anthony Edwards, man. I mean, I've talked about him a lot, over my media career. He has an elite combination of skill, athleticism, and his mentality. Like, the guy wants to be the best. And on top of that, I think the Olympic experience expedited his process more than anyone else, learning from guys like Steph, KD, LeBron. And another thing is, yes, it was always his team, but now it's even more his team with Cat departing. I think Anthony Edwards will win the MVP.
Yeah, Edwards is at 12-1. I like that he got the Olympic bump. You've seen a lot of guys go either to the Olympics or FIBA, and then they come back and they kind of have a monster year piggybacking off that. Staying with that topic, bro, another guy, and ladies and gentlemen and fans of Veterans Minimum, this is not AI repeating something I've said the last 3 years, because I picked this guy to win MVP the last 3 years. We're recording this after him and the Celtics ended up winning over my New York Knicks, as I'm wearing a It Is What It Is Diplomats Knicks t-shirt. What do you think of Tatum, bro? Tatum 10-1 narrative, right? He doesn't win finals MVP. He doesn't win conference finals MVP. Plays no factor in the Olympics. He came out, he balled out in game 1. No, he still got 81 games to go. They're going to be a top 3 seed. 10-1. What do you think of Tatum?
Yeah, I like Tatum. I actually like that whole team because of what happened to Tatum and Brown in this offseason. Brown gets snubbed, even though I think there was fit reasons for that. I think it wasn't only because of all the controversial stuff. I think Derek White was a better fit with that team, and that team already had enough star power. But from Jaylen Brown's point of view, he got an extreme chip on his shoulder, and we know Tatum. He didn't even get burned in the Olympics. So he has a big chip on his shoulder, and you could see in game 1, as you said, he's not here for play, Nick. He is not here for play. I think that's a good bet right there.
Yeah, and also if you want to get crazy and go with Brown as being the alpha, he's 100-1 for NBA MVP this year. Talking about a guy who had a great summer and a playoff. I mean, dude won Finals MVP. Like, why wouldn't he be? I wonder if it happens sometimes in like soccer more so than in the NBA. Definitely not in the NFL, but you'll see players sort of cancel each other out. And it's like, well, he had a monster year because this guy on his team also had the monster year. So like, who really was the MVP, right? Like in soccer right now, there's a huge debate with Real Madrid. Is it Bellingham or is it Vinicius Jr., the Brazilian? I think it's Vinicius because he scored more. He was more of an attacking factor, but is it Bellingham setting him up? So I wonder if like Tatum and Brown sort of negate one another for as good as the Celtics are. I wonder if there's any recency bias there or sort of like just holding that against them.
Yeah, there could be some of that. And what happened with Tatum was totally interesting because it feels like he's not getting all the credit he might deserve because Brown was the guy who won Finals MVP. And Tatum, the last thing he needed was that championship to solidify him as a superstar. And now it was in a fashion where he wasn't really playing like a superstar. So it's a very weird situation, Nick. I don't even get it all the way, but he's still probably not getting some of the credit that he deserves, which is pretty amazing after winning a championship.
Yeah. Do you buy into the media trying to separate them two and sort of break them up? Because, I mean, they're saying all the right things, But are they planting seeds as far as whose team is it? And then
Yeah.
right, they are, right?
I mean, they've been doing this for years with them, Nick. I mean, it's not really working, it seems like,
Yeah.
though. They've been trying to break those two up forever, and they won a championship now. Now, look, if they go through a tough stretch, they're just going to do it again. This is what the media does, but, you know, humans actually like negativity, and they're like drawn to it, right? Even when we see a negative comment, right? We kind of don't even think about all the positive comments we got. We got the negative comment. So there's a reason why media tries to break people up and do all this negative stuff, is because humans are drawn to it, Nick. And that's the way it's always going to be. So, you know, it is what it is. Shouts to Cam and Mason, you.
Yeah, man, that's true. You know, it hasn't been working. Like they've only needed a championship to sort of validate everything that they're doing, because they've been a model franchise, and them two have been key figures in the development of everything that the Celtics are doing. I want to get into another team that I'm very high on. I'm upset, Combo, because in the betting markets, they're a very popular team, but they check the boxes of a team that went through the growing pains, right? 2 years ago, they sort of overachieved the win total. And then last year, they're the 1 seed. They get bounced in the second round. My favorite win total are the Thunder at 57.5. It is an insanely high number, but it's a young team with an alpha. I need you to have an alpha. SGA is an MVP candidate. He's top 5 in MVP voting. Top 5 MVP candidate. He's an all NBA guy. And I like it, again, because they have a lot of depth now with Caruso. They still have Dort. They got Williams. We know about Chet now year 3, but year 2 on the court. And they're a team that I kind of think are matchup proof with all the versatility that they have. And it's very important to monitor the young teams, bro. They just care about it more. And like I said, last year I had them at plus 400 to be a top 3 seed. You could get them at plus 500 to have the best record in the NBA again, which I'm kind of leaning towards. I love the Thunder going over 57.5 wins.
Yeah, man, I think that's a great choice, because they added Caruso, they added Hartenstein, who's now hurt, and they also solved the Josh Giddey problem, which they couldn't even start him, so he wasn't providing spacing for SGA, wasn't the best fit with SGA, and Caruso and Ihart are way better fits around SGA than Giddey was. So I love everything that they did in the offseason. I mean, Ihart is hurt right now, but he should have more than enough time to be ready for the playoffs. And this is actually an underdiscussed story. SGA was actually the best playoff performer in last year's playoffs. He was better than Luka in their series versus Dallas, even though they lost. He was better than Tatum and Brown, in my opinion. They just didn't make it far enough for everybody to realize that. So I love that pick. Everybody's going to be a year better. And I actually got Chet winning most improved. So I love this team from every angle, and I love that pick.
They're a top 5 favorite from MVP odds. When you mentioned most improved for Chet, when you look at it, his number it's a pretty significant number. He is at 60-1. So if you like him for most improved, bro, 60-1 is definitely a very interesting play. Jalen Williams is the favorite, along with Victor Wembanyama and also Jalen Johnson are your top 3. Yeah, man, look, if you like a team to do well, you should look at the awards markets for those guys, right? Like SGA should be a leading candidate for MVP. He's third behind Luka, Jokic, and him, and then it's Tatum. Like that's your top 4. One thing I want to mention about the Thunder, bro. Actually, you know what? You tell me what your favorite over is in the win totals.
My favorite over is the Golden State Warriors. I mean, they signed Kyle Anderson, who I really like his game. He's an interesting player because he doesn't shoot it that well, but could help almost every NBA team. They signed Buddy Hield, which gives them some shooting with Clay leaving. They solved the Clay vibes problem because, yes, Clay was a great player, but he's a diminishing talent. And then he probably wasn't happy with the money that he was being offered there. So he definitely wasn't happy with that. So that wasn't great for the vibes. And I think Moody's a year better. I think Kuminga could take a leap. And I think this team is one of the deepest teams in the NBA. So I definitely think they could go over, from what I saw, 43.5. I think that's a definite over, and that's a lock for me.
Yeah, this one was so sketchy, bro, because you're right. It's at 43.5 is the win total. And last season, they almost won 50 games, despite all the Draymond Green sort of declining a little bit, not getting much from Clay. I love that they gave up on Clay. Honestly, like, winning solves everything. And right now, he's not the player for the money that he wanted with them. And I think a fresh start with him now being a fourth option, sometimes third option.
Yeah.
With Dallas, I think now your role changes a lot too if you're them. It's the lowest win total that they've had since Steph Curry got there. His rookie season, obviously, but then after that, it's been almost like a decade plus since he was since we saw the Warriors have this low of a total.
Yes, I mean, and we have to mention what Steph did against France, right? I mean, he's still a guy who could go absolutely off. So we hardly mentioned Steph Curry in all this. Like, a Steph Curry team with a lot of depth, the team should win more than 43.5, right?
Yeah, and a friend of mine, his MVP pick is Steph Curry, 60-1.
Wow,
60-1.
I can't. That's tough, man. I can't. I don't know, man.
Yeah.
Can you see that? Can you see that happening?
I mean, they got to win. So the thing is you need to be a top 3 seed and you got to win over 50 games. If you don't think that the team that you're picking the MVP from, unless they have an insane season like Westbrook in 2016 when he averaged a triple-double and it was so monumental, even though the years after he also averaged a triple-double, you need to have some shit like that. Like, he needs to drop like 37 a game and they're a 6 seed in order for him to win this award if they're not going to be a top 3 seed or 50 wins. Like, that's sort of the indicator. Like, in the NFL, you need to win your division. The only time it hasn't happened was when Adrian Peterson ran for 2,000 yards off the ACL, and it was the narrative. That's why he won MVP. But immediately,
I don't see him, Durant, or LeBron like trying to like win these season statistic awards anymore. You know, I think they're kind of past that. I think they want to like be fresh in the playoffs, if you will. So I don't really see like a 37 PPG season for, Steph.
No, for sure. And totally, man. And 37 is a wild number for me to even say like so casually. But to your point, what you just said, they don't care about the regular season. Let's get healthy.
Right.
Let's get to the dance, and then we can make noise. That's why I like teams like the Thunder. That's why I like teams like Memphis, because they're young enough and they don't know any better. So for them, Tuesday in Washington, they're like, let's go crazy. LeBron is like, we're sitting that game. Let's not get hurt. Speaking of sitting.
And that's a great segue for what we're about to talk to, actually.
I think this was wild. 52.5, the under for the Sixers. They're already starting with the injury stuff. Like, Paul George and Embiid aren't playing in the first game. That's a red flag immediately. Embiid has said, I'm not doing back-to-backs. Just a lot of red flags immediately. Maxey took the next step last year. He really balled out, and he became like an all-star and is a legitimate like all-NBA kind of guard. I like him a lot. If they're healthy, this team could make noise. But until proven otherwise, I'm not backing that, especially not in the regular season. I think they might be a team that feels the way these aging teams are. Like, bro, Paul George is in year 15. I couldn't believe it. Like, last year when they introduced them, they're like, year 14. I'm like, what the fuck? I feel like he just got in the league. Like, now these guys have been playing for so long, combo, where you're like, damn, bro, you kind of ages with them, right? And that's how I feel about the Sixers, bro. I don't like it. I'm a little worried about their depth. I think that's a very high win total for them, and I'm taking the under because there's already a lot of red flags. I think not being healthy coming into the year, it's something that I'm gonna buy into. So I'm taking the under.
Yeah, I couldn't have said it any better than that. And I actually like some of the moves that Daryl Morey made, right? With PG8, even Eric Gordon. But as you said, like, it's unfortunate. Injuries are a part of sports. I hope Joel Embiid the best, but I think even when he was like averaging 30 against the Knicks last year in the playoffs, he wasn't right. that's how good he is. Like, he wasn't right, and he was averaging 30, and I'm not sure he'll ever be right again. And you said it. He said it himself. He's not playing back-to-backs. So what does that do for your win total, right? And he came out and said it. That's the crazy part. Most people don't come out and say it. Like, they do it. The team knows they're going to do it. The player knows they're going to do it. But he actually said that he might not ever play back-to-backs for the rest of his career. So I'm totally with you. And that jumped out to me the most for a lock for an under. Like, it wasn't even close. Like, that number jumped out to me when I saw 49.5, especially with Paul George starting out with an injury.
I mean, bro, I wanted to come into the NFL season combo fading the 49ers because they had so many red flags coming into the year. McCaffrey hurt, Trent Williams contract, Brandon Ayuk contract, Debo hurt, their fucking first round pick got shot, who, by the way, right now is the healthiest wide receiver that they have, which is wild to think about. Just 6 weeks ago, this dude was recovering from bullets in him, and now he's the healthiest wide receiver that the Niners have. And I say all that because, like, the Sixers coming into this year already, Paul George, I thought he snapped his knee again in that preseason, the way he landed there, the hyperextension.
I guess they're lucky, right?
Right. Yeah. They're lucky that he avoided a serious injury, but it's like, yo, you have that red flag, you have the Embiid comments. I'm just staying away from them. Maybe if they are healthy going into the playoffs, this will be a team I might start to back. But for now, the under, I'm with you, bro. We're on the same page here. I love this one, 52.5. If they are healthy and everything in a perfect world, like, this team could be a 1 seed. This team could win the title. Like you said, with the talent that they do have and the moves that they made, I like it. But for now, I'm fading all that. And yeah, it's just too much for me.
It's unfortunate because, you know, I've always been very high on Paul George's game. The guy has no weaknesses. He's a complete player. He's a 3-level scorer. He plays both sides of the floor. And a lot of the younger generation calls him the GOAT. I mean, he's such a great player with no weaknesses. It's really unfortunate, but I don't know how things are going to go for this Sixers team. But we'll see what develops.
Let's end the show with this. Give me your NBA Finals matchup.
Oh, man. I'm going to go, I have to go Celtics, OKC. I have to. You know, it's kind of like an easy choice with the Celtics, but I want to say some other team, but they're just too good with the chip on their shoulder that we discussed. You know, Brown getting snubbed, Tatum not winning Finals MVP, then not getting burned in the Olympics. Drew Holiday and Derek White are going to be great. I know Drew Holiday is getting a little bit older, but you know, they're in shape from the Olympics. They got even more chemistry playing together. Derek White and Drew Holiday, I love that. And Porzingis, you know, he's shown that he could take long periods of time off and come back really strong. So they'll hopefully have him in the playoffs. I think the Celtics are going to be there. And then with OKC, I think they're the best team in the West for all the reasons we discussed.
Yeah, I mean, for me, bro, I'm kind of with you on that, dude. Like, I want to pick the Knicks so bad. I love what the Knicks have done. I'm not one of these crazy fans combo that picks my team to win every year. I actually do like everything that they have, and then moving forward, I think health.
Let me ask you a question, Nick, because it was like polarizing. It was divisive over that trade. How did you feel about the trade when it happened? How do you feel about it now?
So I like DiVincenzo, and I like guys like DiVincenzo because, to me, I always call it the 5-5-5-5 theory. Game 5 in the playoffs, you're down 5. Who's your 5 with 5 minutes left? Is the moment too big for them? Are they going to shy away like what we were talking about in the beginning of the show? No, I don't want to shoot. I'm going to Ben Simmons it when I have a wide open layup, right? Like, nah. He was like, yo, fuck that. I'm pulling from the logo. You know what I mean? Like, he won a couple games in the playoffs. And obviously, you know about the Villanova and Killanova. And yeah, that was dope. I like the move for both teams. I love guys like DiVincenzo. Cat, I think, bro, he's been in Minnesota for a decade. It's Anthony Edwards' team now. He was supposed to be the man. Who knows what that relationship was like? I feel like him and Rudy weren't on the same page on the court. So I like it for both parties. The issue I have with the Knicks, the OG contract, kind of upsets me, bro. Dude has played over 60 games one time. Your best ability, availability. if they're healthy, and we saw what he did when he was healthy, they were one of the best defensive teams. And now I think that they have another guy that could create his own shot from a unique position like Cat down low, and he could stretch the floor. I like it. I like it for both teams, bro. I think Naz Reid is going to get more burn with the Wolves, and he was an impact guy. Like, he did his thing against Luka as best as he could. So I liked it for both teams, bro. I haven't had a chance to really talk about it much, so I appreciate you asking. And I segue into sort of my NBA Finals pick. I want to preface by saying this. The top 5 favorites: Celtics, Thunder, Knicks, Nuggets, Timberwolves. Your winner is coming from that 5. 17 of the last 19 champions have been a top 5 favorite. You got to go back.
What was it? It must have been the Pistons one year, right?
It was the Pistons, and then it was the Raptors. And the Raptors, by the way, were 6th.
Changed their team. They changed their team.
But also they were 6th. So you're not going to get a Pistons that were 50-1 at that time, right? Like, basically in the NBA, to your point, the best teams and players get there. So my approach for this one is I'm betting 4 scenarios, and they're all plus 1,400 or more. Celtics Thunder, the one that you picked. Knicks Thunder, 18-1. Knicks Timberwolves, 20-1. Celtics Timberwolves, 15-1. So if you were to throw $100 on all of them, if you could get those 4 in the conference finals, which is very likely, you're chilling. You're like, yo, I'm gonna break. I'm a profit here. And you'll probably root for the one that's the longest odds. But especially in the NBA, you're not gonna get
Nick. This is too good. They got to pay for this,
bro. They're not.
You got to put this behind a paywall.
Here's the thing, bro. Everything is free. Everything is free, bro. Just subscribe, rate, review, tag, and let people know. Yo, you're not gonna get a Kings at 60-1. Like, it's not gonna happen. It just doesn't happen. You're not gonna get a Rockets at 80-1. You're not gonna get a Hawks. Like, the obvious teams are gonna get there. Hell, you're not gonna get
who is 6, by the way.
The Mavericks, Bucks, and 76ers all tied at 14-1.
The Mavericks are interesting, though. The Mavericks are really interesting because you want to know why, Nick? They weren't healthy. Like, people were telling me around the league, they weren't healthy in that game versus Celtics. Like, Luka's knees were messed up. I think Kyrie actually had surgery after the season. I mean, they are really interesting, but I like everything you're saying, though.
Yeah, I mean, bro, you know what? The West kind of reminds me of the AFC in the NFL, where I like the Jets coming into the year. I like the Bengals. I kind of liked Buffalo, but it's like, bro, you got Kansas City there. Like, the West is so loaded. The AFC is so loaded. And then on the East, it's kind of just a 2-man race, in my opinion. It's the Knicks and the Celtics. Obviously, we don't know what's going to happen with the Sixers and their health, but that's kind of my NBA Finals prediction, man. If I had to just pick one, I'd probably agree with you with Celtics Thunder. But I think any combination of that 4, bro, you could get a really big number there, man. And I think that's something that I'm going to lean towards. And those are my NBA Finals picks, bro. I love futures in the NBA. It's my favorite combo. I don't like betting on regular season NBA much because of, I'm on the West Coast now, right? But 7:07 Eastern time, the game's about to tip. They're like, oh, yeah, LeBron's going to sit this one out. You're like, oh, fuck, I just took props, unders, overs. It just fucks up the whole thing. It's too volatile. So for me, NBA regular season, I love futures. I get invested in players and teams because I make a long-term investment. And then come playoff time, it's one of my favorite things to bet on. I love NBA playoffs. We'll definitely have you on in a couple of weeks, maybe do like a quarter season recap. But bro, this was amazing. I love having you on the show. No, next time you're in Vegas, the seat is always available for you in the studio. And yeah, man, thanks again for your time, bro. This was fun. Let the people know all the shit that you're working on.
Yeah, first of all, I'm just amazed by you, how smart of a basketball guy you are while covering all the sports. Like, that's always been truly amazing about you. And I always appreciate you having me on your platform. It's always fun talking sports with you. You can find my podcast wherever you listen to podcasts, Combos Court, COMBOS, COURT. You can find me on Instagram at 12combo. That's ONETWOCOMBO. And Nick, thanks again, bro. Hope to do this again soon. You're always welcome on my show, and let's talk soon, bro.
Let's do it. We'll catch you guys next time.
In his element, I'm a gold medalist, bronze like your medal is. So many deer in headlights, but it's bedtime. Hear that supper bell, main course, be the venison.
Dab. Most dangerous game. Either kill or be killed.